RTD Live Talk, late night talk show. We're live. Excited to be back for another live stream. And so tonight, I just wanted to basically just check in and go over a variety of stories and subject matters. And most importantly, want to hear from you guys directly. So with that being the case, welcome to Detroit's #1 late night YouTube talk show. And I'm excited to be back with you guys again. Let's check in via chat. Let me know how the audio sounds, and then we'll dive in. And tonight, I just wanted to share with you something that was of concern to me, or a couple things of concern to me, kind of piggybacking off of what we talked about earlier. But yeah, so the direction, where are we heading? Where is all this heading? I think that's something that we all are concerned with. And so outside of the planned agenda, between now and that plan unfolding, I think it's good to just talk our way through some things and strategize and plan and see what we can do to be a blessing to one another, as well as to navigate the days ahead. So looking forward to doing that. So let me check in via chat, and then we'll dive into it. And so it says that we got Dan. It says, what's going on, Mike? Hope all is well. Yes, all is well. Extremely blessed, I must say. Miss D, we got Jason, we got David, watching from Quebec, Canada. Appreciate you for tuning in. How's things in your neck of the woods, David? We got Philman, Spirit King. Spirit, what's up, man? How's everything in your neck of the woods? What's the slowdown or reopening of what's going on? I'm curious to find out, because we can kind of take everyone's experience with this matter and put the pieces of the puzzle together to kind of get an idea as to the rate of the overall agenda. Which is towards, unfortunately, that one world order that is in the future. We got Richard, 412 in the house, the Pabar, Excalibur, Tim. All right, so enough people here tuning in. Appreciate you guys for hanging out. And so let me know what's on your mind as well. Feel free to do so. And I want to actually just tip off with just one article. Keep it sweet and simple, but yet trying to get an idea as to the vagueness of some guidelines that look like was rolled out, that I actually came across on my local news station here. And it's one of those things where, we got CDC releases reopening guidelines. And so I just actually watched a couple of videos, and it looks like Wisconsin, as of last night, decided to open things up. And then in certain areas, it looks like local jurisdictions shut things down again. But as of last night, a lot of people got a taste of what would be considered freedom, to be able to choose to do what you want to do with your life and take the consequences upon yourself for those actions. But I was curious to find out what other states might have some legislation in order to where you got people out there pressing the Supreme Court to make some decisions on the legality of this stay-at-home order, lockdown, or whatever states want to call it. But I was reading through this article here, and I thought I was lead off with this tonight, and then we'll take it from there. But just from what's getting provided, it's real vague, and so I might have to actually go to the CDC, but I imagine it's going to be vague there. But to sum it all up, based upon guidelines for getting back to the new norm for schools, businesses, and churches, I was not more so concerned, but concerned with the churches or whatever, because I know right now, mentally as well as spiritually, a lot of people need some inspiration, need some uplifting, and being able to gather amongst fellow believers is very important, and that's been taken away from us in a physical sense. Let me see here. Jason, I appreciate the love offering. It says, really enjoy watching you hear what happened with SD Bullion. Jason, thanks for the love offering. And so due to the environment, management there decided to reel in some things and basically choose a different pathway as far as how they want to focus on the physical side and not necessarily the digital side. And so they wanted to make some changes. So it was a even split as far as where our energies are going. And so for me, rethinking a dollar is my baby in a sense. So I wanted to dedicate more time on it. And so I just decided to do such. So, but everything's going well there. I'm wishing those guys the best there. And definitely, we still they're still an affiliate, so we still do business or whatever. So good relationship there. But just they're more metal centered, and it's more scripted there, whereas in here I can freestyle and do what I want to do and create. So big reason why I decided to just focus on RTD. So, but I appreciate that concern and question. So give you an idea here, just give you some real basic stuff here. It says the guidance became a political issue in recent days as the White House did not allow the report as it was originally drafted from being released. It says on Tuesday, CDC Director Robert Redfield said the edited document would soon be released. And as I thumb through here, it gives categories. And so for schools, and so I'm not sure, it doesn't really stipulate what level of schooling, but the guidance calls for schools to monitor the social spread of this current situation. In areas without community spread, schools are to monitor for absenteeism, continue with intense cleaning protocol, and require sick students and staff to stay at home. So very vague in nature. Once again, they're putting it on the schools and on the teachers now who are intended to just teach children to also be nurses and probably babysitters, because if a kid sneezes, parents, probably be concerned, and teacher might say, go to the office, so it's once again, the guidance is not really guidance. It's more so going to cause confusion. And that's unfortunate, but that's just what to be expected. And so as far as businesses, it says after ensuring reopening meets a local state standards, the CDC recommends businesses to put in health and safety measures such as allowing non-essential employees to work from home, promote good hygiene and face coverings, and encourage social distances, including physical barriers. So if you're in an office space, if you can work virtually, they're saying basically let your employees stay at home, and never mind the cost of running an actual building infrastructure and all that stuff like that. And then also make sure there's always space between people. So space between people, hygiene should have always been a priority in the first place. Now it looks like it's going to be even more of one. And of course, it's very vague, but it is what it is. And so for churches, like business and schools, churches are encouraged to monitor staff for symptoms. Places of worship are also encouraged to identify actions to take to temporarily postpone or cancel events, programs, and services. So I'd imagine out of all these events, they're all closely tight-knit areas where it will not be able to be monitored sufficiently to where they're going to come out with some more drastic measures down the line, I'm assuming, as a lot of people are anticipating that second wave. So, but yeah, that's what I wanted to just lead off with that tonight. Jonathan Neal, I appreciate that love offering, my friend. Appreciate you. And so via check-in, let's talk. Let me open up the phone lines and let's get right into it, because I want to find out what else is going on out there and what else is worthy of talking about on this late night check-in. And so as a part of my, job as an alternative media commentator is many fronts. The editing, the producing, all that stuff, the story finding. And so I'm kind of trying to, shuffle up things on my end to where I just want to turn the late nights into just, hey, you guys check in, give me a call, let's talk. I want to hear the pulse of what's happening in the streets, in a sense. And so that'll definitely help me gauge participation in the community and making sure that the efforts put forth here is a blessing to everybody. So that's why I really encourage being able to hear from everybody, because everybody has a different experience based upon where they're located at in the world. So I definitely want to make sure I'm always mindful of the fact that everybody's going through something of some kind. There's good and bad out there. I want to hear both. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's up, Mike? This is Jason from...
Jason, how you doing, my friend? What's on your mind?
I'm doing good. Hey, sorry, my dog's kind of anxious. He wants to get out. But so about on April 19th, I heard that you were talking about this trend that was going on for 18 months.
Mm-hmm.
I've been saving this little piece that I wrote, and I'm just going to type it out because I was trying to show it in the comments and to other people.
Yeah.
So I was watching you live, and you mentioned that there was a trend of 18 months in the mainstream media. And when you type that into Google, the central bank's chairman saying we should expect 18 months shutdown. Melinda Gates talking about 18 months away from a vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
Guy David Treat is a senior managing director, co-lead of Accenture's blockchain business and Accenture lead of the New York FinTech Innovation Lab.
Mm-hmm.
He is also one of the project directors for the Digital Dollar Project.
Mm-hmm.
Accenture is one of the project partners for the Digital Project. And guess what? Accenture is also one of the founding partners of ID 2020, along with Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, the Rockefeller Foundation, and Microsoft.
Yeah.
And Trump recently said that the deadline to get the real ID is going to be next October.
Yeah, they extended
it.
Yeah.
Roughly October 2021. That's roughly 18 months from now.
Yeah. Good point, man. So you connected all the dots, and so that's to my personal opinion, that's the original agenda that they would like to stick to. And the fact that Trump is talking about this year, that disrupts the overall game plan, because it looks like all those entities you name are on board for that time frame. But for some reason, Trump trying to jump ship and go rogue on them, if that's a good word to use, to where he's talking about this year. So that's one of the things where, regardless of whether he's a part of it or not, it's all being planned, and I don't like where it's heading. So I'm not one of those people that says, hold tight, Trump has it, trust the plan. I'm like, I ain't no damn plan. The plan is not in my favor. So it's unfortunate, but I want to figure out how we can one by one collectively come together to disrupt this overall plan is what I'm trying to figure out. So that's kind of where I want to focus, moving forward, man, because anything else is irrelevant. You can have all the weight you want, have all the cryptocurrency, all that stuff like that. But if you can't leave your house, or if you're being told what to do, when you got to go, and all that stuff like that, what good is all that other stuff? So, but definitely want to cover that, man. So I appreciate you calling and sharing that.
Yeah. And, last thing. So I've been listening to a lot of Seven Bomar, and he's like very well-educated, well-rounded in a lot of things. And right now he's specializing in a conscious community type of application, like one of its kind, where a lot of people like yourself and people who are being censored and have their stuff taken away, being able to bring our content onto a platform that is voted on for the people, like by the people. Yeah. And you could be, I would really recommend checking it out. It's called secretenergy.com. Secretenergy.com. And I can drop a link below. So it's something that is going to be able to help us to be able to get our word out without the government taking it down. Yeah. All right. It's just another way out. And last thing I just want to say is, everybody just keep your heads up. We will get through it no matter what. Things might look rough, but in the bigger picture, it's all for the better good of our spiritual life. Yeah. All right, man. I appreciate you. I'll definitely check that out. Thanks for calling in. All right. You take care now, Mike. You too. Yeah, man. Good stuff. I appreciate that call. And so, as always, let me hear your voice tonight. Give me a call. Let's talk. And let's I'm really trying to think about the direction of the channel and how it can really make a difference. And so that's kind of where I want to focus a lot of my energy towards. Let me make sure I got somebody on here and we can get this going. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Mike. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, my friend. What's your name?
I'm Joe, calling from upstate New York. I have two questions for you, my friend.
All right, go ahead, Joe.
Question number one: when the Fed go negative, if for first-time home buyers, is bank gonna give you money to take out loans from them? What's gonna happen? What does that mean for first-time home buyer if the Fed goes negative? Yeah. As far as getting a new loan. And second question is, do you recommend first-time home buyer to take out loan when the Fed goes negative?
Ooh, great questions there. And I will share my 2 cents on that. I'll do it off air if that's okay with you. So I appreciate the call, my friend.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. So great questions there. Negative rates and home ownership. And so, man, that's an interesting topic. Like me personally, I'm beyond grateful that I'm in a position where I'm not looking for a home. And so because it goes two ways. If you're a first-time homeowner, then the rates will never more than likely be in your favor now. But then you're getting a home in an environment where more likely the home is well overpriced. And then on top of that, depending on your financial situation, you might not be in a great position to be able to provide the upkeep and everything needed for that home throughout this current situation here. So everybody's case is different. But first-time home buyers, my personal opinion, if we have any real estate people out there, feel free to to chime in on this via chat as well. But I'm not quite sure if I can see borrowing costs for real estate from the banks, from the leading financiers going negative directly. I don't think we'll have enough. I don't foresee this current depression being able to remain comfortable enough the way it is now. And like right now, we're in a depression according to everything else, and it's it can be considered very comfortable for some because we're still getting something from somewhere. But yet in times ahead, I don't see negative rates being offered because the too big to fail banks, with all the things they're entangled with, I don't think that they'll be able to extend credit at a loss outright. Even if the Federal Reserve is, they are subsidizing them and keeping them afloat. And so I don't see a time where there will be like a negative 0.01% mortgage rate or something. And the instances that we have, or examples we have in Europe, they're small commercial banks in small cities and towns. And those are really small banks that I guess they can kind of sort of afford it because they're going to make that up in the long run through fees and all types of other things. And so there's certain nations that probably can get away with it, but yet I don't think the reserve currency, the leading nation of the global economy, can get away with it. So I don't see it happening, but yet I could be wrong. But my personal opinion would be wait until and as all this unwinds and blows through or whatever, and like, Mike Maloney would even say, if you're physically positioned, you can prosper in the days ahead because everything that's overinflated has to come down in price. So you might be able to get more bang for your coin down the line. So that will be my 2 cents with it. I don't think it's going to get to the point where it's ultimately negative, where everybody can go take out and refinance at a negative rate and end up winning because you're not having to pay as much and you don't have to pay back as much. So I don't see that being the case. But I could be wrong. So anybody out there in the chat, feel free to chime in if you think otherwise or got something to add. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Mike, Tony from Oakland.
Tony, what's up, my friend? Give me some good news.
How you doing, man? Sounds like you're feeling about that way, man. Your channel's good, man. Don't change a thing. You're gonna get there.
Oh yeah, doing well, man. Just trying to I want to begin talking out some things, man. Go ahead.
Digital currency.
Say that again.
I was watching something on the YouTube the other day, and China had talked about they're totally done with the United States when they were giving out swap lines.
Mm-hmm.
China didn't get any,
mm-hmm.
and so that back in March they switched over to their cryptocurrency.
Yeah,
and Russia didn't get any, Turkey didn't get any, so and now Qatar is talking like they didn't get any. So everybody's talking like Trump really took to the dollar and started using it as a hammer over these countries, and have shut everything down.
Mm-hmm.
And now you got to beg for the dollars from him.
Yeah,
and they're talking like we're done with it. It's only a matter of months, and before the truth comes out about what he's actually doing to these countries. And China said that they're doing theirs without a central bank.
Right.
So, if you do yours without a central bank and Russia does the same thing, the central bankers are gone.
Yeah. Yeah. And so do you think for those nations that you named that their activity that will probably not be in dollars will immediately disrupt things, or because the rest of the world also is dependent upon dollars and they're getting subsidized in a sense as well, do you think that they can still get by, or does it take some type of an event?
Oh no, they can get by for a little bit, but they're burning up their reserves.
Yeah,
and people in Venezuela, when they switched over to the petro, they put it behind gold, and that's what every country is doing. Is they've repatriated their gold. They're going to put their crypto on the gold platform because they said that Facebook Libra is going to sign up with the Bitcoin, and when that happens, they said it's just you got the same thing. You got the dollar.
Yeah,
it's not backed by anything, and they don't want that again because they're getting beat over the head with it right now.
Yeah.
So I'd stay in China's corner because eventually you're gonna have to back it by something.
Yeah, very true.
So that's where I'm at, brother.
Yeah. Well, hey man, I appreciate the thoughts out there. What's going on in LA, man? How's everything in your neck of the woods?
I'm in Oakland, man. LA's about 6 hours from me, but there's people moving around. But you still got the people that look at you all funny with you ain't got a mask walking next to them on the street. I'm about ready to take a flight back, and they tell me that I got to wear a mask on the plane. So I don't know. We'll see. I'll keep you informed, though.
Good deal, my man. Be good. Appreciate the call,
right, brother. Keep your head up.
Yes, sir.
All
you
right.
too. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, man. Good stuff. Good to hear from you. So let me go back in the chat. And as always, give me a call. Let's talk a little bit. What's going on in your world? Any new viewers, let me know where you're watching from. We'll love to acknowledge your presence. So I see some things that, let me see, rethinking. I said, I heard if you receive forbearance, banks won't lend to you or let you refi for 12 months due to them not being able to sell the loan to Freddie and Franny. Lamar, okay, I'm not familiar with that one. And so if that is the case, then that's also something to reconsider as well. So that would definitely hurt the people that's taking advantage of the situation to where they're choosing not to pay, even though they're in a position where they can pay. So that goes to show that I would imagine whatever the banking sector decides to roll out or throw at us, they're going to do it in their best, in their best interest. And so, yeah, until the wheels completely fall off this thing, I would stick to your normal script as long as you can. And then when things get a little chaotic, then we'll be able to reassess where we're at that point. So, but we will see. It says Jerome Powell seems to be softening on the idea of going negative. I noticed the gas prices on the rise. Antonio, I noticed the same thing. It's been brought to my attention a couple times. Goldie says Christian churches are opening back up according to the gospel. Jesus got up, and you may not. You may not. Oh man, that's a good one. All right, let's take this call here. Yeah. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Mike, how you doing? This is Steven from Milwaukee. We've spoken before.
Yes,
I just wanted to know if you had any insight on Donald Trump's recent statement regarding mobilizing the military to be able to help implement mass vaccinations.
Yes.
By the end of the year.
Yeah, so I talked about that earlier, and when I came across it, it was just a very vague statement. And so the very first news source that reported on it happens to be right here, and I'll put this on the screen. And so I just initially came across this article, and I read through it. It's real short and sweet. And so it's apparently from him being quoted during an interview yesterday on, I think, Fox Business News here, Fox Business Network. And outside of the quotes given, I didn't watch the interview to actually hear it from his mouth. And so I wouldn't be surprised if this was something that was relatively true on his side, because he's out there now over the last 2 weeks talking about that he's more than confident that, you know, they can have something ready by the end of this year. And then on top of the new appointment of a pharmaceutical czar for vaccines, it looks like he himself might be pushing to speed things up outside of that 18-month window that was initially told that it would take to get a vaccine done. So if they force this thing, they force a vaccine within 6-7 months, that lets me know that it's a rush job and it's definitely not something that you would want to be dealing with. And then what type of health situation requires the military to deliver it as opposed to just sending it at the hospitals and giving people the choice if they choose to? So by incorporating the military, if that is the case, that lets me know that that's a part of an initial agenda in the first place. So that's kind of all I have, my 2 cents on it. What do you think, my friend?
Well, Mike, man, listen, man, it's heavy. I noticed that when I was chiming in to call you, I saw one of the folks in the chat. They mentioned that House Resolution 666.
Yeah.
Passed today. Oh. So this is all very speedy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We know vaccines take what they say 5-7 years. You know, you have to do testing. We know that, you know, I just got into a heated discussion with a friend of mine who is a physician. Mm-hmm. And, you know, of course, they're having a scientific background, you know, they believe all the hype, you know. So, you know, what I'm saying is conspiracy theory. Mm-hmm. But you don't have to be a scientist to see that this does not add up.
Yeah.
The numbers don't add up.
Yeah.
So all I can say is, listen, this time, I think most people are probably not going to fight or resist. Mm-hmm. I think what's going to happen is you're going to see churches going to roll out. When the churches open back up, they're probably going to they're going to be incentivized to be testing sites. Okay? Yeah. They're going to be testing. They're going to encourage their parishioners to get tested there because they're going to get some type of financial reward. But I'm going to tell you, this is what I've always, we are flesh, but we're mostly spirit. Mm-hmm. This is a spiritual fight, a battle. We are literally living in future. No more projecting what is going to come to pass. It's here now. We are here today.
Yeah.
And so people are going to have to make up their mind, and there's going to be a great falling away, trust me.
Mm-hmm.
But people are going to have to make up their mind what side of the line they're going to stand on.
Yeah.
But listen, bro, what you're doing, I think is great.
Appreciate you.
I love you. You got good skin. I love your teeth. And you're a good man.
Thanks, my friend. I appreciate you, dog. Appreciate the love and support, my man. Be good.
Peace.
Yep. Good call, man. So yeah, that's something we definitely want to touch on, because I was actually talking with my wife tonight. We was like, man, like, we got to really talk and think this thing out, because things are speeding up a lot faster than I would have anticipated, knowing that it was coming, but didn't anticipate it at this rate. But anyway, let me get to some super chats and I'll comment more. Styles Washington says, will silver value go up from here? Styles, that would be great if it does, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did not, just because as always, as we're watching more people be more as we're watching the unemployment numbers continue to go up, but yet the old traditional financial markets that are dying in themselves are still in the green technically. That lets me know that we're in an upside down world still. So I don't imagine the powers to be allowing things to slip deliberately. So they're going to try and find new ways to manipulate things and keep the prices of true tangible assets relatively suppressed, while letting all those financial instruments that are illusions of a high net worth continue to rise, such as people portfolios, as well as real estate prices and everything else that the central banks have done a good job at inflating the cost of purchasing those things at. And so with that being the case, at $15 right now, I think it went up a little bit today. Once again, you can't find an ounce of silver for $15. It's just not possible. At the very cheapest, you might find it for $19 or $20, but that's a $5 premium. And if you want an eagle, it's going to be maybe a $10 premium. So technically speaking, the price of silver is already up. It just hasn't been reflecting in the spot price. But you're not going to get what you want for 15p. So it looks like this value is actually going up, even though it's not really going up in spot price nominal terms. So I appreciate that thought there and that question, my friend. And so I got another super chat here I want to answer. Let me find it. Where'd it go? Here we go. This is from Metho Nelson. I appreciate the love offering, my friend, to the channel. It says, in recent weeks, I noticed that quite a few developing nations are now making devastating cuts to their infrastructure spending. Could this be the catalyst for the Greater Depression? Thanks. All right. So it says several developing nations are cutting their costs for infrastructure spending. Could this be the catalyst for the Greater Depression? Man. I would imagine that the cutting of infrastructure, I'm not sure, because I think the most important infrastructure planned would happen to be in the reserve currency, which is here. And I think Trump still wants that, but yet as of now, he's so concerned with other nations getting a gift and having lower borrowing cost. And so I would imagine that as more nations look to go negative, especially as President Trump said, Powell's doing a better job, but he's still unhappy because we should be negative already. So if we do go negative, or relatively negative, we're at zero now, it's not much more room to go. So technically speaking, an infrastructure package for the U.S., I imagine, it will probably be in Trump's second term if he gets there. But right now, his sole effort is on maintaining, as you say, 51% approval, and for the next couple months to get a second term. Then once he gets a second term, if he gets a second term, at this point, shit, everything will break out. Pardon my language. But anyway, I would imagine we're already, if you look at everything just unfolding, I think I saw something like 1.6 billion people on the planet now will be labeled as unemployed. And so 1.6 billion people out of 7.7 or so, that right there will be Greater Depressionary. So I think we're already in a Greater Depression. As I mentioned, technology hides the numbers. Technology, internet access, Netflix, everybody be able to stay home and relatively still get paid some way of some fashion, is hiding the true impact of what it's like to have an economy that has been shut down. And now I think the true catalyst will be the side effects for trying to reopen and all the additional stimulus that will be needed as the reopening process ultimately fails. And so hope that answers your question in a nutshell, but the Greater Depression, I believe, is now. Like, And it's one of those things where I feel comfortable saying that. And it's not like it's, conspiracy theory or whatever. Just look at the numbers. The whole planet right now is dealing with an issue that's, of course, man-made, but and strategically placed in this time and space. Because I always thought 2020 was going to be that transformational year, but I thought it would at least, be 2021, 22 and 2, it'd be rolled out. I didn't know that it was like, bam, in the US, 2020. Stuff changes, it's everything is now changed. There ain't no going back to what used to be. So even when things reopen to whatever reopen means, everybody gonna walk around for the most part conscientious of people. And my thing is, I'm not really like big in this. I don't really wear a mask, but I do out of respect for other people, because I know that people have been psychologically conditioned to think that right now we're at war against an invisible enemy. And I'm like, out of just respect for that person across from me, I don't know if that person might have a health issue to where they just might freak out and just actually take it and go personal with me and blow up on my end. So I just, keep my distance and do me. But out of respect for other people, I try to play along as best I can. But anyway, that's just me. Too much of a rant. Anyway, I'm talking too much, man. Let me hear your voice. Give me a call. Let's talk a little bit. And we can go from there. As always, highlight at Silver at Rethinking the Dollar. Dang, I keep saying the wrong words. And go from there. It says power is delegated by you and Tang. Not sure what that's for me. Michigan is the home base. Detroit is my neck of the woods. I don't understand why everyone is looking at this virus as a bad thing, David. And that's the thing. Like, influenza, it has the same consequences, but on a global scale. But I think the mainstream media and governments have really highlighted and magnified this current situation, because I believe it is a more heightened version of that particular strand of illness. And what we've witnessed so far is that it's strategically hindering and hurting people that already have ailments, making it a lot more difficult for them. And so it's one of those things where it was strategically created for that, I believe. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Mike, Tim, Colorado.
Tim, how you doing, my friend?
Good. I was talking with a friend in Washington today, and you saw that news article today about possibly going to your house and mandatory testing.
I did not see that article. What? Let me look that up. What is that? What, any particular article?
Go ahead and check it out. It was. I thought it was it Washington? I thought it was Washington. Yeah, Washington State.
Okay, so I'll just type in mandatory house inspections in Washington State and see what comes up.
Close. Yeah, it was the testing.
Okay, mandatory. Let me see if something comes up. Okay, mandatory testing. Okay, but keep sharing your story and I'll look it up.
Okay, well, it was somewhere. Okay, I thought it was Washington because I was talking to him and he was, and he's not really awake.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he said something. But it was a state today, either Michigan or Washington,
mm-hmm.
and mandatory testing. So the ultimate question, but I'm going to ask you, but I don't want you to give the answer because it's kind of incriminating when you're being recorded.
Yeah.
But knock, knock, we're here.
Yeah.
And as you said, your earlier show today
mm-hmm.
was about rolling out military.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't answer the question.
Right. I understand.
But I can tell you what mine is, and they knew who I am, and it's absolutely not.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. Not going to happen, man.
I understand.
No
man.
test, no V.
Hey, I understand. I appreciate you for calling as always, my friend.
All right.
All right. Be good.
I love you, brother. You be safe.
Love you too, my man. Interesting. Yeah, so I appreciate that, man. I appreciate the call in and the support and all the love and everything like that. And so let me figure out what I left off at my last thought. We're talking about, or just keep it moving. Declaration of emergency relegates the power to FEMA. We already have that change. Tony Black says, what happened to SD? SD Silver Dogs, I'm assuming, as I mentioned earlier, just change of directions. Everybody's making changes in their operations. And so that was part of the reason we went our separate ways. But yet they're still an affiliate of the channel, though. So I still do business with those guys and still talk to them. I don't understand why everyone is looking at a virus as a bad thing. So that was the thing. Yeah, so looking at a virus is a bad thing. David mentioned that. And so outside of, of course, I don't think, the virus is in and of itself a bad thing because viruses are naturally occurring in nature, usually outside of them being modified in laboratories. But I think it's the agenda and the timing of this current situation, which is what's getting all the attention and what's the result of all this. And it has to do with the agenda. You know, everybody know the agendas out there, Agenda 2021, 2030, 2040, 20. It's all these agendas established by these so-called powers that be, the people who, for the most part, control the bloodline of the global economy. You know, the currencies. Those people there who have the right inside track to all that are the ones that call the shots and pull all the strings to the puppets, which happen to be the politicians in office globally. But that's a different subject. So anyway, I think that's the big fuss. And now we're at a point where we see how things are lining up. Everybody's witnessing how it's impacting their world in some capacity. Like, this is something that now I think if you just look at the chain of events and how things have unfolded. And so I remember talking 2 years ago, I think, about the wall. And I think the subject matter during that time frame was Trump was real adamant on making sure that wall was up because of what was supposed to be coming in. And so now it's like, okay, people, I would imagine there's still people in Mexico and below and even lower still looking to come up, because coming up here is still probably better than most of the living conditions in other countries. But as of right now, you know, I've never, it's been years since I've drove through the border into Mexico, but I'd imagine if any of my viewers out there right on the border, near the border, you know, I'd be curious to find out what's the pulse of activity like around the border. You know, is it still come and go for some, or is it locked down, shut down? Do you see, you know, armed forces at the border keeping people in and out? So I would be curious to find out the degree of difficulty now that the wall, I think, is partially up. But yet, then again, I would imagine as time goes on, more people might be wanting to drive down and out themselves. And so I will be curious to find out what life is like down there near that wall. So if anybody knows somebody that knows somebody by a wall, connect us. Let me hear. It says, ring around the rosy, ashes, ashes, we all fall down. Yeah, unfortunately. But yeah, and so as a caller mentioned, let me get back on that because I want to definitely touch on that. And so as a caller mentioned, and this is what I was walking and talking to my wife today, and I was like, man, like, you know, things are really beginning, speeding up in a sense of just me. And because I'm like in the news, I watch and listen to so much stuff. I have more than enough news sources around me that I stay plugged into to formulate opinions a lot faster than the average person who has no clue what's going on. So I'm thinking like, man, like things are ramping up, things are speeding up. And I'm like, man, like, Lord, like this is a spiritual warfare. Like, I know the true fight is between good and evil. Satan has a plan, and look, God has a plan. And, you know, those that are believers in Christ have already won. And so we are in the world, but not of it. But just because I'm still in this thing, I'm like, man, like, you know, okay, so what's the extent to which I should, you know, comply or contest things that are being made, decisions that are being made on my behalf that I may not choose to want to participate in. And so I'm like, man, this is a spiritual warfare, and I already am an overcomer because of my faith. And that's just something I believe, and the word gives me the confidence to be able to believe that. But I'm thinking like, man, like, you know, what's that fine line between walking by faith and not by sight? And as well as saying, okay, you know, I'm not going to, you know, let you just slap me and I'm turning my cheek and you slap me, keep slapping me. Okay, slap me once, you know, I might forgive you, but slap me 2-3 times, you know, that type of thing. So that's kind of like where I'm like, man, we got to, you know, I'm getting before the Lord trying to figure this out because this is probably the greatest time in history to be alive. And I'm excited to be in it because I'm in it for a reason. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Mike, this is Dane from Florida.
Dave from Florida. How you doing, my man? What's on your mind?
Nothing much. You know how they got the HR 66, that whole bill coming out?
Yes, sir.
So I was listening to a woman named Deborah Tavares earlier today, and she was talking about how they, I think it's Microsoft patent for cryptocurrency system using body activity data. Yeah. And the patent for that is, I think it's 6066. 60666. So I looked that up. It's pretty interesting for any of the viewers that want to look that up.
Yeah. So I've read an article a while ago. I don't think I think I might have mentioned on a live stream before, but it's about a blockchain project that you're probably referring to. That, and I was reading the details of how it operates, and they have they're utilizing a blockchain, and I think the crypto people that love to mention it's a trustless operating protocol where you don't have to trust nobody because it's verifiable on the blockchain. And so here they are trying to use that same technology to verify, to make sure that everyone can't lie and say they haven't been or have been tagged and bagged up already. So the blockchain is good for good, can be used for good and evil. And when it comes to the real ID stuff like that, that's definitely not, in the best interest of mankind. But what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's pretty interesting. I mean, I feel like it's going to lead to a cashless society. That's what it looks like it says in the patent. So they just want to get rid of all cash, and they can track every transaction. So
yeah. Scary, but it's real life, man. That's where we at. And so now we have to not be discouraged, but be encouraged to do something with it, man, and to turn us into a situation for our good is where I'm trying to get to, man. But I appreciate you calling, man, and thanks for your support to the channel.
All right, no problem.
Yes, sir. Be good.
All right, you too. Bye.
Yeah, man. Good stuff. I appreciate that call there. So, I think the good thing is more than enough people are plugged in and in tune with what's going on. Now, I'm in a point where I'm really excited to see how the Lord does what he said he's going to do. And so, so Microsoft patent W02020. Man, that's a lot of O's and twos and stuff like that. We don't even have decent masks. All right, so we'll take a few more calls and then get ready to dial back. Anybody got some thoughts and some strategies on how we can use these circumstances to our good? Let me know. Call me. Let me know in the chat. Hello, caller. Which name are you calling from?
Yeah. Hey, Mike. This is Rotimi. Rotimi.
How you doing, my man?
Rotimi.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I'm from Phoenix, and I am a long time listener and first time caller too. Just wanted to definitely just say hi and just like call in, I guess, for the first time though too, and definitely just try to encourage like the listeners too, and just remind us though too, especially us believers though too that the Lord is in control. That when it's all said and done, it's like, we want to be on the right side, of history and of what's going on, and we know that in the end we win.
Very true. Very true, man. That's good.
Right. So there's that, and then I also wanted to let you know too, though, that I would be a Patreon too, because I really do value like all of this, just all the support though too, and everything that you do. Do want to state though that I am unfortunately though I'm one of those people though who are fortunate to still be employed though, and I have a lot of debt, and there's a lot. So it's like Hey. I don't have the luxury that a lot of y'all have, where y'all got the time flexibility.
Yeah. But that's a blessing, man.
Yeah, right. So I want you to know that too, though, brother.
So I appreciate you, man. I appreciate your support in this viewing, man, and give me a thumbs up and share the video. That'll be just as good to me, man. I appreciate you.
Sounds good.
All right.
Good.
Be good, my man.
Okay.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Good stuff, man. Yeah. So support comes in many ways, man. Monetary is one way, but yet thumbs up and just being active in the chat is the best way. So I appreciate that, all that love, man. So a couple more calls and then we'll dial back, because I'm assuming, like always, we can talk until I probably won't talk till the sun come up, but you get what I'm saying. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's going on, Mike? This is Dwayne from Michigan. What's going on, brother?
Dwayne, how you doing, my man? What's going on, boss? Talk to me.
Yep. You asked for some solutions, right?
Yes, sir. I can use some of those.
I got a solution.
Give it to me.
And the Bible says that the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but they're mighty through the Most High to the pulling down of strongholds.
Okay.
So we don't have a military that's going to come and do justice for us.
Yeah.
We don't have the financial backing to go take on the criminals. So we got to call on the Most High. We got to call on Him.
Yeah.
Because if our weapons are carnal, but we can fight on an equal, if not a greater advantage on a spiritual level in terms of prayer.
Yeah.
And bombarding the heavens. We can't do that.
Yeah. And
that's one of the reasons why I think that they it's kind of strategic how they shut down the churches.
Yeah.
Because one of the things I thought about was the fact that in order to have a new monetary system, you have to have a new religious system. Because those two things feeds off each other.
Yeah. Okay, I can dig that.
So my thing is, in order for, I just think that true believers, we see what they're doing, but it's almost like we're the sleeping giant.
Yeah.
So what can we do on the offense? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Saying what with the spiritual might that we have as believers to stand on that which is true and do great things for the Most High and actually shake the Lord, because actually to me, on the flip side of this, when all this was going on, it's like it's time for miracles.
Yeah.
We need miracles right now.
Yeah, I could definitely use some of that, right? I could definitely use a little intervention from the kingdom. So that's another thing. So I'm a big fan of Miles Monroe, man. That's one of my spiritual mentors. He passed away years ago, but I have all his books, and I'm reminded of a lot of his sayings of how right now it's just a miracle is simply the government of heaven intervening in natural affairs. That's all it is. And so it's common. It will be considered common in the spiritual realm, but for the natural realm, we look for something spectacular. When miracles happen all the time, we may not just recognize with our own natural eyes. Because, despite all of that, we do have some angels. Like we all are assigned to one day give judgment to some angels. And so we got some people on our team as well. So we got more than enough equipment. Now it's just a matter of reminding ourselves in the midst of the struggle that is there, because you look at so much bad news, you forget that you are a winner through all this as well. So, but yeah, man, I can go on and on.
Hold on. I was just getting ready to say that. That's why I said what. So I was just getting ready. It's funny that you brought up Dr. Miles Monroe, because when Dr. Miles Monroe he used to have the CBN conference down in Southfield. I used to go to that.
Yeah.
And I met him before. He was a stand-up guy.
Yeah.
And he has a lot of teachings, because I actually met him. And one of the things that he done, he actually stood up and faced his government. He was a champion for his people out there in the Bahamas when it was coming against same-sex marriage and them coming on the island. He was so vocal. He went so far as vocal as where he checked the Pope in Latin.
Yeah.
I mean, he checked the Pope. That's the type of resolve that we have.
Yeah.
The Bible says in the book of Romans, the 8th chapter, that what can separate us from the love of the Most High? The love of the Father.
Yeah.
Like nothing should be able to shake us from that.
Yeah.
Like we see all this stuff. Like we need God to intervene, and these are the times in Scripture. This is the last thing I'm saying. I'm gonna get off the phone. These are the times in Scriptures when the Most High intervenes in these times.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, these ripe conditions, man. So hey, man, I appreciate you for bringing that to my remembrance. As always, that was a great edifying message there, my man. I appreciate it.
All right, you take care. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your night, bro.
Yes, sir. You as well. Be good. Yeah, man. Good stuff, man. Man, that's something right there. Just it's always good to be reminded of what you believe in. And so, so this, definitely what he's referring to. Nothing can separate us. Man, I like that. Appreciate that. Good word. So this will be the last call officially, and then we're going to dial back. And so I got to make it so that get more calls in. So let me test this one. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, hi.
How you doing? What's your name?
This is Faith.
Hey there, Faith. How you doing?
Hey, Tony wants a knock-knock joke.
Uh-huh.
I'm just trying to think of something stupid. Should I say a prayer? What do I do?
I'm not sure. but it's good to hear your voice, though.
Let's just pray the Holy Spirit guide my mouth.
Mm-hmm. That's what we all need. That's what we all need.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for calling.
We're gonna wing it. Okay.
All right. All right, man. So we're going to dial back with that one. 49 minutes and counting, 50 minutes and counting. Appreciate everybody for hanging out with me tonight and all the participation in the chat. So moving forward, I'm going to try my best to just try to, connect people and collectively put our heads together to strategize, plan, and edify and build one another up. And let's try to get ourselves through this in a positive manner and come out as winners on the other side of this thing. Because once again, I am of the mindset that there's power in numbers, and with a nice, strong community, we can definitely figure out a way to get through this. But it starts with our beliefs, and for me personally, giving the glory to His glory, because He will get the glory regardless. But anyway, I don't want to do any more preaching for tonight. I feel edified and charged up. Be blessed, be safe, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and for those that enjoy the back and forth, don't be afraid to donate a thumbs up right beneath this video. And if you are interested in supporting the channel anyway, all the information is beneath this. And then share this video so more people can find out about it. And then we'll be back at it again tomorrow, same time or different time, but different day. Anyway, be blessed, be safe. Peace.